Glock, bitch, you ain't a thug, you ain't in jam pop. Red dot, I'ma keep on stomping till it's neck pop. Feds walk, I can't be caught slipping, so the feds hot. Red drop, I quit popping sticks, so sipping red drop. Twin Glock, bitch, you ain't a thug, you ain't in jam pop. Red dot, I'ma keep on stomping till it's neck pop. Feds walk, I can't be caught slipping, so the feds hot.
What's up, guys? Back with another video. Today I'm going to go over the update. Just going to go over what it's like to drive this car and how the modifications that I've done to it, how those are doing. One of you guys actually asked about the short shifter and how that's doing, so I decided why not just go ahead and give an overview of everything that I've done to the Civic, what needs to be done in the future, and what it's like to drive so far. So shout out to Hawkeye 1200, thanks for watching, and hopefully you find it useful knowing the update of the Skunk 2 shifter as well as all the other mods that I've done. So I have the intake elbow, I have the PLM header, the energy suspension mounts cover the tiny ones that are beneath the frame rails on either side, and also the one that's behind the engine. The Prothane mounts are the ones that are visible to the camera right now. These two mounts over here. Overall, I really like the way they make the car feel. Makes it a little bit more aggressive. That's about as far engine wise as I've gone with it so far. It does burn oil, but I do have a part that might help alleviate that. I have suspicions that the PCV valve behind here is probably clogged, which is sending oil straight into the manifold and getting burnt up. So look out for that in the upcoming video. Transmission wise, I have more polyurethane mounts for the shifter bushings, as well as the Skunk 2 shifter, which is inside. The Skunk 2 shifter has been pretty good. It definitely helps shorten the distance between gears. It makes for a very confident shift, and it also the only issue, which isn't really an issue, is that reverse is harder to get into. My recommendation for this is to go, if you're going to go with a short shifter, please go with an authentic reputable brand. Please don't go with a knockoff aluminum version off of eBay or something, because there are stories that those break. This one is a stainless steel and holds up to as much force as you can throw at it. Interior wise, since we're here, I have the Civic Type R steering wheel. I felt like the OEM one was a little bit too big, and this one is 20 millimeters, a smaller diameter, which makes for a quicker steering feel. I relocated the battery down to the shifter area, and I've used a block off plate for the original OEM location, and which means I had to convert the cup holders to the 96 to 98 model. I liked it for the cleaner look. For our seats, I've gone with the Recaro, the Evo 8. They feel great, and they are a massive upgrade over the OEM ones. The OEM seats feel pretty bad, considering this car came from an era where Honda used roll-up windows on their base models. So ergonomically, they weren't the greatest seats. If you were to go with any other seat from Honda, ranking them from most comfortable, it would probably be the S2000 seats, followed by the Integra Type R seats, and maybe even the Del Sol seats, and then GSR somewhere in there. But the seats that came in base model Civics and even the Civic Si like this one, they weren't very comfortable. So if you're going to be in for long drives, definitely invest in a nice seat. As far as suspension goes, I am dropped on Skunk 2 struts with ground control coilovers. They're set at the highest setting right now, probably due to the fact that the struts have a smaller body than the OEM struts, so it actually sinks down a little bit more. The rear can go higher, but the fronts are maxed out as to how high they are, so take that for what you will. If you want to look, if you can see underneath, I have the ASR subframe brace as well as the ASR sway bar and function 7 lower control arms. those are pretty unnecessary as far as a daily is concerned, but they look nice and they help the car rotate. It gives me less of a feeling of understeer and more so a little bit of oversteer and more of a neutral balance to it. So I really like that aspect of it. Totally overkill for daily driving, but when you autocross or something, it's nice to have. I think that's about it. I mean, I have a drop-in reusable cleaning filter, but very simple street build. The ride of this car isn't too aggressive, because if you go with the traditional coilover, maybe like a function informed coilover or a D2 coilover or any of those like true coilovers, they usually have a very tough and very aggressive spring rate, very stiff. So with the ground controls, they're a little bit more mild, a little bit suited for street, less suitable for track driving, I would say. So those are the updates. Sorry I haven't been uploading. I thought I had a check engine light for the past week, so I actually ordered an O2 sensor to replace it with, to get rid of the check engine light, but the check engine light actually went away. So I think there was just so much rain that it threw a check engine light at me, but it's gone now. And that's about all. Thanks. The bonus random thing before I end the video, I have to move this really long blind, and it's basically the wheelbase of my car. So I don't think it will fit, but we'll find a way. Like a glove. Fits pretty well, so we'll see how this goes. I don't care what anyone says, sunroofs are practical. There's like a new level of wind noise that I've never heard before because of this thing. It's huge, but I think it's catching so much air that I can't hear anything but wind noise.